from my friends and yours, comes an interesting skiing racing game for the Super Famicom. From dashing through the snow, pummeling other racers with snowballs, and carving around furious slopes, Waku Waku Ski Wondershoot stands as an oddity of a game that manages to both fascinate and charm in the absence of other qualities. Before you hit the slopes, you have a choice of characters, and oh boy, what a cast of characters this game boasts. You could be guy skier, girl skier, or other guy skier, or you could be a robot, a bunny, a starman, but not that kind, or banana man. Controls do vary slightly from character to character, but nothing really major that should keep you from trying everyone out. As far as controls go, this is yet another game that suffers from not having just ripped off Super Mario Kart's controls. Human went for a slightly more realistic approach to skiing, which in theory is interesting, but in execution makes the game more difficult than necessary. The biggest hit is in the steering department, as there aren't any drift buttons, so instead taking your finger off the gas and holding down left or right will allow for tighter turns. A must-learn tactic is to make sure you hammer the R button immediately after one of these turns to stop yourself from losing any speed, or else you'll surely be passed by a crowd of racers. A unique addition to this racer is the jump button, allowing for some neat obstacles to be incorporated in certain tracks and for items to be placed mid-air. Speaking of items, there are a few which are scattered across a handful of courses, including deadly snowballs, invincibility fire, and a mega hop. The only downside is that the annoying button hopping from Rider's Spirit returns here, as X is your weapons button. The graphics here are stellar. Really, I can't say enough good things about them. They're downright beautiful, which is to be expected of a SNES game in '95, but honestly I think this is one of the better looking Mode 7 games I've come across on the system. The backgrounds are crisp and colorful, which help contrast the snowy white slopes, and whether you're trailing down some serene mountains, speeding around the outskirts of Cyber City, or carving craters on the moon, expect to have an eyeful. Courses maintain a pretty straightforward design of long straightaways and corners to rush around, but do occasionally break off into multiple paths, sport ravines to gap across, or add other small obstacles to crash into. On top of that, make sure you're watching out for other racers, as you can crash into one another. With the AI in mind, I'd like to point out that they're a little too good at this game. While one or two will lag behind the pack, the majority all kind of bulk together, just waiting to pass you as you make any mistake. It's few and far between that I manage to get first in a race. As a matter of fact, I'm usually in last, but occasionally I'll pull through with a victory. I have to admit that longevity is not this game's strong suit, as most tracks only last a little over a minute each as they don't loop, and there are only about 16 tracks in total. But extra play modes like Time Attack and 2-player do exist to help make up for the overall lack of content. Real quick, I'll say that the music mimics the graphics, as it's also rather wacky, bright, yet catchy, and most tracks stand as the perfect wallpaper to the wondrous racing going on. Also, I have to mention that there are more than one song in this game that incorporates a dog barking into it, which is certainly interesting and off-putting to say the least. While not the greatest SNES game to come out of humans' doors, as that spot's still reserved for Clock Tower, this game is just as I put it in the intro, an oddity. One that still carries enough intrigue and glimpses of fun to be enjoyed in small bursts, especially with 2 players, but as it stands, I can only recommend it as a curiosity for racing fans and Mode 7 lovers like myself. So grab some goggles, and maybe a few beers, and give Waku Waku Ski Wondershoot a try.